So hey guys, my name is Vincent here at Korin, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about 3 tips for sharpening that I think are really important. And these are things that I've mentioned to guests that come into the store many times over the years, so I thought it'd be a good idea to share with you guys. So let's start with number 3. So many of you guys know that you need to flatten your stones, you need to resurface your stones frequently, right? If your stone isn't flat, your knife is going to come out uneven. So you guys already know that. But a lot of you guys don't realize how frequently you have to flatten your stones. Now, when you're sharpening on a stone, you're wearing down the stone as you're sharpening the knife. So what happens is your stone's becoming uneven, as you're working the knife. And you got to do this even as you're sharpening. So what I do typically is I'll sharpen for maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so. I'll put the knife down and get a stone fixer to resurface the stone. That's how frequently you really have to maintain that flatness on these sharpening stones. A lot of times in Japan, people will say, as sharpeners, we spend more time fixing stones than we're actually sharpening knives. So just to give you an idea of how frequently we're doing this. So tip number 3, make sure you're flattening your stones as frequently as possible. And again, do it as you're sharpening. Put your knife down and flatten your stones. So tip number 2. So with tip number 2, you guys know how important it is to maintain the proper angle when you're sharpening a knife. So we talked in other videos, you want to find the proper angle by feeling, or you can use the penny trick that we've talked about or discussed in the past. But what I've noticed over the years is that you'll start by sharpening at the proper angle. And as you're sharpening, after a few minutes, a lot of you guys tend to slowly increase the angle without really realizing you're doing this. So what I want to say as tip number 2 is go back and check yourself every couple of minutes. If you're using the penny trick, bring out the pennies again and make sure that you're consistent with your angles. I would say maybe like half of you guys are actually not consistent and don't realize that you're really changing the angle as you're sharpening. So again, make sure that you find the correct angle and maintain it throughout the whole sharpening process. And tip number 1, this arguably is probably the most important thing. So here I have 2 stones and they're both a 1000 grit. But one is a higher quality. This one is a Naniwa 1000 grit. And we have here a king home type stone. Now what's key is that it says home on this. So when you see a stone that's home, usually they're a little bit less expensive, they're more affordable, but the problem is that these stones are not meant for sharpening professional grade steel. So if you try to sharpen VG10 or powder steel on a stone like this, chances are you're not going to be able to get a proper edge. You need to make sure that you have a high quality stone, a professional grade stone that matches and holds up to the quality of your knife. A lot of times makers will make 2 variations. So a lot of you guys know King as a great stone maker, which they do make great professional grade stones, but they do make home variants as well. And if you pick up the wrong stone, you're not going to be able to get a good edge on your knife. So these home stones are really designed for softer steels. A lot of times in Japan, a home chef would use a knife that they buy in the equivalent of like a Home Depot or an IKEA. And these knives aren't really the same as professional quality. You don't need a super hard stone to properly sharpen these knives. And these are much more affordable, and this is all you need for those types of knives. Most of you guys are using really good professional grade steel for your knives. And when you have something like that, again, you want to make sure you have a professional grade stone to match. So these are 3 tips that I've mentioned to guests that come in or ask me about sharpening over the years, and I thought it'd be a great idea to share with you guys. So I hope you guys find this helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.